scene 1. This scene, y'all voted, and it's from the diner. We're gonna play a little clip from the first movie just to get you back in the mindset. You know what I'm saying? And then it's gonna count down, and me and Alana are gonna come in, and we're gonna read it.
Oh, I'm nervous.
Me too. We've not read this scene in forever. All right, let's do it. Let's roll the clip.
What'd you do last night?
I finished another book. It was so good.
Another bodice for you, her.
I enjoy them for their camp.
Yeah, right. Don't worry, girl. No judgment.
Hey, can I talk to you?
Me?
Yeah.
Hey, PK. Heard my cousin dumped you for a college student. That true?
I heard you have a tail. Is that true, Chris?
Yep, really cute. Like a little piggy.
I need to talk to Largy. Alone?
If you need me, I'll be in the nurse's office with a migraine, Googling Justin Trudeau shirtless.
Look, I want to say that I appreciate it, but it's never gonna happen.
I'm sorry, what?
Okay, from what I remember of that kiss, I mean, it was hot, you know, for being 7th grade. And look, I think it's really cool that you think I have golden specks in my eyes. It's just Jack and I. Whoa. Wake up. You okay?
What happened?
Fainted.
Okay.
Yeah, give me a hand. And the other one too. Come on, you got this. There we go. And you're up. Okay, now do you want me to call someone, get you some water?
No, I'm okay.
Sure.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Okay.
Hey! Stop that! 2 more laps for you, Cubby.
Thank you.
Whoa.
Laura Jean!
This is gonna be Joan. I just had to say, my hand. This is gonna be Joan.
Okay. Oh. Okay.
All right, ready? Ready? Hey, Cubby. Oh, anything for your friend?
He's not with me.
Like a chocolate shake. Thanks. Sure.
Ooh. What you doing?
What do you mean? I'm just here to take down one of these chocolate shakes.
Cool. Yeah.
Actually, I stopped by your house and your sister said that you'd probably be here. Look, I want to be super clear.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm flattered. I am, but Jen and I just broke up. So
Peter Kavinsky, are you trying to reject me right now?
well, yeah, because it didn't really seem like it took back the first time.
I'm not trying to date you.
Okay, well, yeah, but your mouth is saying something, right? But then your mouth said something completely different back at the
What?
thing. Joan.
Okay, so, here's the thing. I don't actually like you. I just had to make it look like I liked you so that somebody else would think that I liked them.
Oh. Okay. Who?
But
Who? You gotta tell me who. of these mystery studies. Otherwise, I'm just gonna go on believing that you have a secret tattoo of my face on your ass.
No.
All right. Well, I guess, should I just tell the rest of the school that you wrote me a love letter? Because I could.
Okay, fine. It's Josh Sanderson?
Wait, hold on. Sanderson? Doesn't that guy date your sister?
Yeah. Well, he dated my sister, as in the past tense, and he also got a letter, so you can see how awkward and complicated that one's gonna be if he finds out that I actually sent.
Whoa, hold on. Stop. I'm not the only guy that got a letter.
No.
Wow, you really think you're special, then you find out that she wrote love letters to 2 guys.
Well, actually, I wrote 5 love letters, so don't feel it too special.
You wrote 5 love letters?
Yeah.
Damn, Covey, you're a player. Who else did you write letters to?
If I tell you, will you leave me alone?
Maybe.
Okay. Lucas James?
He's gay.
You don't know that.
Everybody knows that.
Okay.
Who else?
Someone from camp and someone from UN in the 5th grade. So, are we good here?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, great.
Wait. Is that sparkly bike out front? Is that your ride?
Yeah. Wow.
Oh!
Whoa.
Oh!
My brain is exploding. I all of the memories of when we shot that
That was the first scene. That was the first scene that you and I ever shot together on set.
Yeah.
Ever.
I think that was the first time the camera rolled was that scene. And I think that scene was also our chemistry read, one of our chemistry reads.
Yeah.
Whoa, that was so crazy because
I've not read that scene in 3 years.
yes, and you kind of remember the beats of what you did, and then you also kind of don't.
You're like, is that how I said it? Probably not.
Oh my god, and that's where the whoa originated. From your very first scene.
Whoa. You mean to tell me that's crazy? Dude, listen. I remember I was sweating so much that day.
And I remember being because we didn't really know each other that well, and I was he sweats a lot.
Like a lot.
Oh my god, wow,
that was crazy. That was an insane throwback. So our next guest, who we're super honored to bring up, his name is Payne. He's Payne the poet, and he is a formerly incarcerated citizen and speaker and spoken word artist who during an 8-year incarceration, he witnessed the flaws in our criminal legal system and the holes in our social safety net, and he realized that he had to use his voice. So using the gift and the power of the creative word, he fights for systematic change to bring peace to our flawed systems. So please welcome Payne the poet, who, by the way, wrote this specifically for us.
If I could choose my life to be one moment, it'd be this conversation. It'd be how I was excited, how I was anxious, and how I envisioned our whole future while we talked, and I wish that I could live in those phrases. We could have sat for hours and just stared at each other's faces. I would have loved it. I would have embraced it. There's no place I'd rather be than your presence. I could spend decades at this dinner table. I wish that I could live this night on a loop. Each moment with you shows me more and more what just one moment can do. And I know I'm goofy, but I love how you laugh at my lame jokes. And when you smiled in the room, everything froze, and I didn't notice. I guess the only thing at the time that mattered was the moment. So if I could choose the time of my life, it'd be right now. If everything was in my hands and I could control it, the only thing that would matter is being with you in the moment. Peace.
Dude, and he wrote that after we sent him the scene that you and I are about to read out loud from To All the Boys too.
Oh my gosh. It's just like when I hear him speak, like I feel my heart getting bigger. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I feel my heart getting bigger, and like his words are so impactful, and you know, I think I'm so honored that he wrote this based off of the scene that we're about to do, but I also just think that it is so timely and perfect for right now where we are in today's society. Like it applies there as well when you're talking about I could be at this table sitting with you, talking with you forever. Like the table is this conversation about racial injustice and Black Lives Matter and everything, and that's the table. And he's saying that we can sit there. We can sit there and be there and talk about it and learn about it forever. So I just love that poem so much.
The first time I heard that poem, it brought like tears to my eyes. Like it was like so like just lovely about presence, being presence, which is, you know, being self-aware, aware of others, like aware of yourself in other space and them in your space. You know, it ties in romantically, it ties in just respectfully with reverence towards other people.
Right.
Yeah, Pain's dope. Pain is so dope. And I just love the fact that he was like, well, send me the scene and then I'll write something. And he just...
I want that, his poem on like a massive like tapestry, and I want to, you know, like I want to hang it in my house.
Totally. That would shit.
Okay, this is happening. I will put it in my coconut. All right.
All right, guys. We are just about halfway through. We're very close to reading the scene from To All the Boys 3. Before we do that, though, we gotta read a scene from To All the Boys 2. And before we read the scene, we're gonna show you a little clip to get you, just so you know, the scene that we're reading from To All the Boys 2 comes from Lara Jean's first date, real date, ever with Peter. But first, check out this clip to put you back to To All the Boys 2.
People say fairy tales aren't real, but sometimes happily ever after is for real. I've been thinking about this moment since I started reading romance novels. My very first date. How do I look? Perfect.
You look fantastic, honey.
Okay.
Hi.
Hey.
What's up?
Not much.
Got you something.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, hey, kitty. What's for you?
Gerber daisies are my favorite.
Dr. Covey.
What restaurant did you pick? Because I know some of the best.
No, Dad? Here, put these in mine.
Say it out loud. 11 o'clock?
11 o'clock.
Okay, have fun.
Not too much fun.
Bye. You get right before we go into this, let me just say, you get the best reveals. Like the door opens, the music swells, and he's there. Like it's really, you get fantastic reveals.
We need to push in. Slower.
Slower! Yes, but you know what? It's effective because even when I watched that, when the door opened, I was like, yes!
It's so weird though when you're filming it because you're like,
It's like forever. Yes. Oh my god.
All right. You ready?
I
Read the rest next to the restaurant. Everybody knows that. It's actually technically a 2-for restaurant. They give you the second one just in case you're not the first off the table.
No, that's not it.
Yeah, that's what it is.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. Watch. You ready?
No. Oh, stop it. Stop it. Oh my God. Stop it. Stop. Just, Peter, stop. Oh, it's so embarrassing.
It's a good thing I have my backup.
This is my first date. I mean, I've never been a girlfriend before. I hope I'm good at it.
You gotta give me your hand and your hands.
And scene.
And scene. Do you remember? So I'm sure you have to, because we almost did the intro. So right now, to anyone who's listening, the intro to the restaurant scene is us walking in through that like cobblestone alley, and then it cuts to us at the table.
Mm-hmm.
But we shot a very different establishing shot, which was this massive one take through the whole restaurant, back way and around.
And it was like modeled. We were trying to almost go shot for shot with Goodfellas, and it didn't make it. It didn't make the cut. It didn't make the cut, but it was so beautiful. And I remember you and we were so excited to shoot it because it was something like artistically different than I think, at least for me, that I think that when we get to do oneers as actors, it's very exciting, at least for me. And so I was so stoked, and we did that scene like all day long, and it never made it. But you know what? There's still hope. There's still hope. Maybe
we should see if we can pull it out. That would be cool. Just to show people. We should see if we can do that, because that was so much fun. It was wild. We spent so much time at that restaurant.
I know. You know what? I kind of want to go, because I think it's a restaurant in real life. So I kind of want to go and like eat there just as a citizen.
Well, maybe if we ever find ourselves back in Vancouver.
We can go together.
Definitely.
And live our best life.
Shall we move on?
Yes, please.
So now, guys, our next guest is so acclaimed, so incredible. Her energy when we got to sit down and interview with her was just overwhelming with love, compassion, and she's so motivated and is just a force to be reckoned with. Her name is Patrice Cullors. She's an artist, she's an organizer, she's a freedom fighter from Los Angeles, California. She co-founded Black Lives Matter, and she founded a company called Dignity and Power Now. She's also a performance artist, a popular public speaker, and a New York Times best-selling author. And Lana and I got to sit down and ask her a couple questions. So I hope you enjoy listening, and I hope we all learn a little something. Patrice, oh my God, thank you so much for being here. You are a force to be reckoned with. Fused together activism, politics, and art. And I'm sure that life has brought you more than enough reasons to start this movement. But what was the specific breaking point that turned this from a solo fight to starting one of the most influential organizations fighting against anti-Black racism, Black Lives Matter?
I love that question. So much of the work that we are doing today has to do with what has happened before me. We are part of a long legacy of human rights and civil rights organizations that have fought for the freedom for Black people for 400 years. Black Lives Matter, the organization that shares a name with the larger movement, is just one iteration of that long legacy. And I feel very honored to have helped usher in this new generation of leadership for both Black people, but also our allies. In 2012, Trayvon Martin was killed by George Zimmerman. And in 2013, George Zimmerman was acquitted of that murder. And that was, for me, the straw that broke the camel's back. I was tired of witnessing Black death and not having a response that really resonated with me as a young Black person. And I was just contacting my friends on social media and like venting. And I came across a Facebook post that Alicia wrote. And she, it was a love note to Black people. And she ended it with Black Lives Matter. And then I put a hashtag in front of it. And in putting a hashtag in front of it, the intention was for it to go viral, was for people to know about what we were experiencing as Black people, and also to have a different kind of conversation about Black people in relationship to this country. A few days later, I wrote a post and I said, hey everybody, Alicia and I started this thing called Black Lives Matter. We hope it gets bigger than we can ever imagine. Homegirl Opal Tometi contacted Alicia and was like, I want to help, I want to support, I want to help you build the infrastructure. And the three of us built an infrastructure around what was going to be called the Black Lives Matter movement. It's pretty surreal.
And now Black Lives Matter is a global movement with protests in over 60 countries and every continent except for Antarctica for now. And so I want to know, my question is, what can young people do today to support the Black Lives Matter movement as a whole?
Absolutely, yeah. So donating is one way always, but also bodies. If you're able to get to a protest with your PPE on and your hand sanitizer, do it. We need to be out there in the streets safely. If you're able to be in your own industry and create space like you're doing, folks in the entertainment industry are thinking about the most creative ways to be present for this moment, and I think that's powerful. If you are a doctor, if you are a nurse, if you are a grocery store worker, everybody has a role to play in this movement. The third thing I'll say is join an organization. Join something. You cannot do it alone. Doesn't matter how much money you have, how powerful you are. We need to be in community together right now. We need to be checking in on each other. We need to be showing up. We need to be a part of organizations that have been building out campaigns around defunding the police for a very long time. You know, this concept of defund didn't just come out of nowhere. And so now is the time to be a part of something. What are you most moved by? What do you feel most excited by? What keeps you up at night? Okay, I bet you there's an organization for that. If there isn't, start it. And that to me is a powerful move forward for what people can do.
You mentioned defunding the police, and that is a huge conversation right now around defunding the police versus abolishing the police. And can you explain the differences between them?
Sure. At the root of defunding the police, as well as abolishing police, is a question, which is, how do we reimagine public safety as we know it? What we understand right now is the way in which police operate, both as an organization, and also as some of the most powerful unions, that they have too much power and they have too much money. And that the people who are most directly impacted by that too much power and too much money are Black people, especially Black poor people. So we have an opportunity to look really honestly at the role of policing and incarceration in our country today and say, is this truly working for everybody? Does this system really give the kind of life that we want people to have? It does not. In fact, it is a system that creates a lot of death and harm and violence. So we have to reimagine a new kind of system. And for some of us, that looks like defunding the police as a way towards abolition. So for some people, it's just defunding the police, not abolition. But at the core of it, it is a reimagining of how we are in relationship to the economy of punishment. That's what we exist in right now. If people do something bad, they get punished and there's a revenge system. Whereas what we're calling for is a system that is rooted in love, compassion, and care. If someone causes harm and violence, why are we responding with harm and violence. We actually have to respond with love, care, and compassion.
And that makes sense in the sense of like it's a new system that you can imagine that is more to rehabilitate people, not to continue the cycle.
Yes.
I've heard, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, like ways to change the system are, getting involved, voting with, your district attorney, or getting a sheriff appointed. But there's also, I just learned about voter suppression.
Yes.
How that's a huge conflict right now, and that gets in the way of changing the system. Can you one, explain to us what voter suppression is, and two, how we can help to fight it?
Sure. Voter suppression looks differently in different places. Take Georgia, for example. During the primaries, when Stacey Abrams should have become the governor of Georgia, instead, that was stolen from her. And how it was stolen from her was very specific. The person who was running for governor at the time alongside of her was also the person that was in charge of voting and the voting system inside of the state of Georgia. So he should have been taken off that being in charge of the voting system so that it could be a fair fight, but he was not. What we know is that people in Georgia tried their hardest to vote, and some of them were taken off the voting reels. They were told that they were no longer allowed to vote. Some of them showed up to voting polls, and it just literally took too long for them to get in time to vote. And there was obviously a significant amount of voter repression when it comes to people who are convicted, who have convictions with felonies inside the state of Georgia, who've lost their right to vote. And so there are so many ways of voter repression, and it's so important that we have this conversation. In Los Angeles, they changed an entire system of voting during during this election year, which is one of the most controversial election years. The entire system of voting was changed. And so that also is voter repression, because if you change a system and you don't teach people how to use that system, that also creates a lot of confusion. So many of us were going to UCLA and giving students pizza and food just to wait outside those lines. Some people waited for 6 hours to vote here in Los Angeles. That's unacceptable. So voter repression is a real thing. Stacey Abrams is doing a lot of work around that, so people should check out the work that she's doing. And then I would say, I love that you brought up local elections, because we all kind of obsess over the national elections. We obsess over our president. Great, we should be. But there are local elections that happen in your county, in your city, every 2 to 4 years that you should be paying attention to. Who gets to be your school board? Who gets to be on your school board, city council? Who gets to be your mayor? Who gets to be a county board supervisor or commissioner? Who gets to be your district attorney? Who gets to be a sheriff? All of these people are voted for. Many judge seats are voted for. So I think it's really important that we start to investigate. That's an important call to action for folks who are going to watch this and who are watching this, is that you need to check out what your local elections are and start teaming up with your community to learn about the elections and learn what's going to be on the ballot.
I have a few other questions, but before I ask them, I want to ask the question of what is something that I haven't asked you so much and definitely should ask you before we go.
I love that question. I think it's good to ask about, I'd love for you to ask about what healing justice is.
Okay. I love that. Patrice, can you please expound a little bit on what healing justice is?
Sure. Healing justice is such an important practice in our movement. This term was actually coined by Kara Page, Black queer woman who lives in New York. And the work that she's done is to center health and wellness as a central conversation inside of movements. Because for so long, civil rights movements and human rights movements were not about people's health and wellness, especially the people who are working and doing the work. But we realized, and she realized, that burnout is real, that the work that we're doing is really hard on our souls, our bodies, our spirits, and that we actually have to see healing justice as a way, as a holistic format to to actually get us closer to the things that we want and need. So healing justice is something that I really abide by. Kara Page is the person I want to shout out. Nia Mingus, Prentice Hemphill, Francisca Porchas. These are individuals that you can look up that have been practicing healing justice for a long time. Mark Anthony Johnson, and have been centering it inside of our movements. And I think it's such a beautiful offering, not just to the movement space, but the entire world.
Right, and surely it's like that old saying, when you're on an airplane, you have to put on your mask first before you can put on another.
That's exactly right.
I know we're running out of time, but we have a lot of young activists that are part of our Favored Nations family, and they're watching right now. So what is a word of advice that you would give to younger activists starting off right now?
Take care of yourself and make sure that you are getting taken care of. I know you want to be in the streets. I know this feels like the most important thing in your life right now, because it actually is. But we need you for the long haul. So please take care of each other. Do not dispose of each other. Don't let online social media, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok confuse you on who your friends and family are. We need each other the most right now. Be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of who is here to actually support you versus who is here to use you. And I think that's really important as you're developing inside of this movement. And more importantly, be proud. Be proud of this moment, because so many of you have ushered us into this moment. Well, yes, I started Black Lives Matter alongside Alicia Garza and Opal Tometi and hundreds of other Black folks and thousands of other Black folks around the globe. You are the new generation that are ushering us in to new conversations, new dialogues, new movements. And so I'm so honored and proud of you, and we love you so much. And I'm so grateful we get to be in the struggle and fight with you.
I'm so confident. I really thank you so much for your help.
You're welcome. You're welcome. This was awesome. I'm so grateful for the whole team. I'm so excited to see this. This is really cool. Y'all are really dope.
Patrice, thank you so much.
Thank you, Patrice.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate y'all. This was really beautiful. Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Love you so much, dude.
Wow, that Patrice is a force to be reckoned with for sure. And you know, I don't know about you, but to be honest, I didn't really know what healing justice was, like, before that conversation. Like, I see, you know, on social media, Black activists hosting like self-care lives and self-care podcasts and all these things, and I just think that is so amazing, because while we're all trying to do the work, and while, you know, some of us are hitting the streets, and some of us are, you know, making organizations, and some of us are volunteering, and some of us are, you know, reading or having the hard conversations with our friends and our family, like, if we're gonna commit and give it our all to the cause, we also need to make sure that we have the fuel in our own body, so that when we expel that energy and when we expel that just drive, we have the energy to give, you know. And I think that was so amazing what she was talking about, the healing justice, just because, you know, you have to charge up to do your best job, and I just love that, because it's so easy to feel so overwhelmed and then run yourself dry, and then you're left empty, and you're like, I know today I need to get up and keep going, but I have nothing left to give. And that's that burnout she was talking about. So I just think that, like, what she said, that was so impactful to me, and I know that it is for a lot of other people. I had many conversations with my friends about it as well. And then something really quick, I know I monopolized the conversation, Noah, so just one more thing.
seriously, I got time. You good?
What I just wanted to bring up was when we were talking about defunding the police versus abolishing the police. There is at the beginning of I'll just speak from my own personal experience. Like at the beginning of this, I guess, past couple of months, when we start talking about defunding the police, I have to say that I did not know exactly what that meant. Like I was very not aware of what that meant. So I, tried my best to figure it out and tried my best to pull from resources. And one resource, one article that really, really helped me understand what it means to defund versus abolish is this article written by the McHarris brothers, published in the New York Times, and it's an op-ed called "No More Money for the Police." And it is a really, really, really great article that talks about redirecting the money to emergency response programs that don't kill Black people. And it is a fantastic article to read if you want to know more. If you want to know more about, and you want to have a little bit more clarity, that is a great article to reference. So I'll post it on my social media so you guys can go to it and read it for yourself if you're interested, because it really helped me kind of in the beginning of this whole growing process to understand what exactly we're talking about when we talk about defunding the police.
Oh, I love that. I can't wait for you to post it. I want to read it.
Yes.
I really can't. I can't wait.
You'll love
I like what you said about getting involved in local elections too.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to donate money. If you can, it helps. It's necessary. It's definitely a huge tool. But if you can't, educating yourself on what's going on locally in your elections, like appointing a judge or the district attorney or a sheriff or your city council, who's running your education programs in your city, you get to.
Right.
And these are things that we can take control of without needing, a lot of money. You need to get there, obviously, and vote and let your voice be heard. But you actually don't even have to be 18 sometimes to go to a hearing and to voice your opinion. A 13-year-old can. I spoke with someone named Philip Atiba Goff, and he runs the Center for Policing Equity, and that was a huge takeaway for me. It's like, you don't even have to be 18 to affect change locally.
Yeah. I think too that like affecting change locally, something that's also so important is filling out your 2020 census.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know what the census is, it's I'll get into it later, but it's basically happens once a decade where you have a voice and you should be heard. So you fill out your census, which basically says like how many people live in a specific area, but that census directly impacts how the House of Representatives, pass legislation in terms of how they decide on schooling and education and just where their funding goes. So that is another very easy way, and it's not an invasive questionnaire whatever. It's not invasive. It's very easy to do, and I think that is something also that's important for us young folks to know, that there's all these opportunities for us to make real change on a very make real change like in a reasonable way. Like that's not a hard thing to do. So yeah, it's just one other little tidbit I got for you.
No, you're right though. No, you're totally right. If we enact change locally, it can work from the bottom up, which is a lot of us think about primaries down, right? The president and down, as opposed to bottom up, and bottom up is extraordinarily effective, and we've been led to believe that it's not, and it is.
Yeah.
All right, let's get a countdown going, because we have 1 minute until we read a scene until All the Boys 3. Where that countdown at? All right, guys, this is your chance to go donate. If you have the means to, if you don't, it's all good. But if you do, please go donate. We have a goal set at 5,000 individual donors. You can donate $1, you can donate 50 cents, and it still counts as a donation. Please go. We want to hit this goal. It's about getting more people involved, not raising a bunch of money. But it's all good. We're gonna be here. We're gonna do this third scene anyway. Lana!
Yeah.
I love how you're wearing like the cute blouse. That's like is like Laura G. You got that hair.
I really tried. I was like, I went to my closet and I thought, what is like something Laura Jean would wear? Here I am. Behold. You know, sometimes I get confused. I'm like, because Laura and Lana.
Let's pause the countdown really quick for 1 second if we can. Can we put? Yeah. All right, keep going.
Sorry, I was just saying, like, I get confused sometimes because like Laura and Lana are spelled very similarly, and then like people all the time like on set would call me Laura Jean, and so then like I would start to have like an identity crisis, like.
Oh my gosh.
But we back, baby. Okay.
Well, we back. All right, play that stop clock. Let's do this. Let's let that run out, and then, all right, guys. Now, the moment we've been waiting for. We're so excited to bring you a scene from To All the Boys 3. For the first time, we are at the diner. It's late night. Again, at the diner, and let's see what you guys can pull from this scene.
Okay. Here we go.
Blueberry pancakes, please. And
2 forks.
You don't want anything else?
I'm not very hungry.
Sorry, I know it's late, but I couldn't wait to see you. I was too excited and relieved. I mean, I thought you'd get in, but I was honestly a little nervous about what would happen if you didn't.
Yeah, totally. Listen, Peter, there's something that I need to tell you.
Hold that thought, Cubby. I forgot to ask for whipped cream. 1 second. Thunk. Puts a plate down. Do you remember the first time we came here, Laura Jean? It was after Gabe's party, our first appearance as a fake couple. You were wearing a blue jacket and a little dress, and you called me on my shit, and I knew right then that I was falling in love with you. And I couldn't think of a better place to ask you. So, Laura Jean Covey, will you go to prom with me?
Yes. Yes, of course I will. Of course I will be there.
Now, what did you want to talk about?
Oh, right. I know how to pick our song.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. Just say a number, any number, and whatever plays, that's fate.
On the jukebox. I'll put a quarter in the jukebox, pick any number, and then it's just... That's a node to Oasis then, you know?
That's a no.
All right, C26. No, 4. No. 26. Oh, I'm having a Bible, I'm having a tutti frutti. Old time song plays.
Maybe we'll keep looking.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Offers her a fork as they dig into pancakes. All right. Now.
That's our sneak peek scene from Tall Boys 3. What do we get from it? We get that there's some discord. You know, I don't know if Peter is really picking up what Laura Jean's putting down.
Right. It seems like you're trying to tell me something. I'm all excited that you got in to something, and you're like, yo, I need to tell you something. And then you tell me something.
And you're just obsessed with whipped cream and pancakes.
I'm just trying to make this promposal dope. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that's our scene. Take it.
weird. That's just weird. And I wonder what was going on. I just wonder what was happening, Lana.
What's going on? You know what was so awesome? It's like, obviously this is not a spoiler. We said it. It's at the diner, but like when we filmed the third movie and the diner scenes that we do have, like it was such a major throwback to the first movie. Like I just felt like it was so full circle, and so every time we were sitting there doing a scene, I couldn't help but think of like the time that we had spent when we were just getting to know each other, like as you and me and as Peter and Lara Jean in the diner when we shot it, the first movie. So I'm really excited for y'all to see the third movie. I'm also really excited for y'all to keep on pushing and making that change. And also, look, I've been making notes, and it's a ramen post-it notes.
Nice. Very nice.
Sidebar.
Sidebar. Post-it notes. And if you can get a cool design like ramen on them, you're winning.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. That's an hour right there. We really, really appreciate your time. And, I certainly learned a lot, Lana. Thank you so much for being willing to do this and championing this. It was impossible without you, and you brought so much to this entire campaign. Appreciate it.
Thank you. It's my honor to be here. I am so proud of what Favored Nations is doing, and you can still give if it's in your means, even after this video is over. Thank you, Noah, for involving me. I had a really great time. I learned a lot, and I'm excited to go into the space now with even more just inspiration and things to pull from when we're talking about change. And so thank you to all of our speakers as well. You guys were so giving with your time, and really, really appreciate it. And I know the people who are watching right now, they appreciate it as well. So thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. And I don't want to say goodbye, but we have to.
We love you guys. We love you guys so, so, so much. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed the little sneak preview, and hope you got a little bit of information. Take care. Until next time, we out.